Okay, real talk for a sec. Have you ever noticed how some songs, they just make you want to hit that skip button?
Oh,
Like the
yeah.
second they come on, you're like, nope, not today. But
Yeah.
then there are those other songs, the ones that just hit different, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
They tap into something deep inside us and we can't help but crank it up, maybe even like belt it out.
For sure.
So, what is the deal with that? What is it about those special songs that makes them so powerful?
Well, that's a question researchers have been trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And what they're finding is that uh, our musical preferences are way more than just like, a catchy melody or a good beat.
Yep.
It's this super interesting mix of our personal history, personality, and even our environment.
Wow.
Almost like a musical fingerprint, totally unique to each of us.
That makes sense. I know, like for me personally, some songs bring back vivid memories.
Yeah.
And it's not always happy ones either. But there's got to be more to it than just nostalgia, right?
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's definitely more complex than that. Like, researchers think we're drawn to music because it triggers these pleasurable responses in our brains.
Okay.
Ever gotten chills listening to a certain song?
Oh, all the time. Especially when there's like a key change or a really powerful vocal. It gets me every time.
That's your brain's reward system doing its thing.
Whoa.
And some researchers even think that we actually experience emotions through music or even choose music based on how we want to feel, like our personal mood regulator.
So if I'm like feeling down, I might instinctively want to listen to something kind of sad.
Yeah, could be. Or like, on the flip side, if you need a pick-me-up, you might crave those upbeat, high-energy tracks.
That makes sense.
There's even research linking our personality traits and what music we're drawn to, which is super cool.
All right, now we're talking. Tell me more about that.
So, for example, studies have shown that people open to new experiences might be drawn to, like Billie Eilish. And it's not just because it's popular. There's got to be something deeper.
Right.
Think about what makes her music unique.
Yeah.
It's unconventional song structures, diving into complex emotions, those like dark, sometimes kind of unsettling soundscapes.
I see what you mean.
It challenges norms, which tends to resonate with people who are, naturally curious and open.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Like her music is a reflection of that open-minded spirit.
What about people who are more extroverted? What kind of music do they usually like?
They tend to go for contemporary sounds, those high-energy tracks that are perfect for like getting a party started.
So like those big pop anthems,
I need
the
some of
ones everyone knows.
Yep. Now, let's talk about agreeable people.
Okay.
Those kind, compassionate types.
Yeah.
Their musical taste leans toward what you might call unpretentious tunes.
Unpretentious.
Music that feels genuine, down to earth, easy to connect with.
Can you give me an example of an artist like that?
Absolutely. Think of Garrett Cato and Alina.
Okay, yeah. Their music is often described as warm, comforting, authentic. It just makes you feel good.
Okay, that makes sense. So where do people who are more conscientious fit in? I'm thinking of those like organized, detail-oriented types. What's their musical fingerprint like?
This is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Research shows highly conscientious individuals can kind of go in one of two directions.
Oh.
They either lean towards unpretentious music, like our agreeable folks, or they're drawn to the opposite end of the spectrum.
Wait, really? That's kind of surprising.
I know, right? It's fascinating. But when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Conscientiousness is often linked with a strong work ethic, a desire for order and structure.
Yeah.
So maybe that explains the attraction to music that's either very structured and organized or music that's like an outlet for those intense emotions they might be holding back in daily life.
I see.
Something like Marshmallow's Power comes to mind.
Okay.
It's got that driving energy, those big dramatic builds, a sense of power and intensity that can be really appealing. I can see that.
And then we have our anxious folks. They're a bit of a wild card.
Oh, why is that?
Well, their tastes tend to be more diverse.
Okay.
Possibly because they might seek out different types of music depending on their mood, what they're feeling at any given moment.
So their playlist might be all over the place.
Exactly.
Like 1 minute it's chill instrumentals, next it's high energy EDM.
Yeah. And, that brings up a really interesting question. If our musical taste is so personal, so intertwined with who we are, why do we even care what other people are listening to?
Yeah.
Why do we share our playlists, debate artists, or even judge someone based on their music choices?
That's a great point. It's not like we're going to change our own preferences just because someone else doesn't get it. So what's the deal with this like, social aspect of music.
Well, while our personal preferences are definitely unique, music also has this incredible power to connect us to others.
Oh, for sure. Think about it. When you find someone who loves the same obscure band, or that a song you've always loved also means something special to them, there's an instant connection.
Yeah, I totally get that.
It's like a shortcut to understanding each other on a deeper level.
It's almost like music becomes this shared language, even if you literally don't speak the same language.
I love that. It's like a secret handshake,
Yeah.
a way of saying, hey, we get each other.
Yeah.
And it's not just about finding folks with the exact same taste.
Right.
Sometimes it's about appreciating the differences, learning about new genres and artists through people we care about.
So it's not just about the music itself, it's about the social connections and shared experiences that music creates.
Exactly. And that brings us to another fascinating layer of this whole thing, how our environment influences what we listen to. It's not just who we are as individuals, it's also about where we are, what's happening around us, even the time of day.
You know, that's something I've always wondered about. Does where I live, or even like what time it is, actually affect my musical choices?
Oh, it totally can. There was a super interesting study that looked at like 765 million streamed songs from all over the world.
Wow.
The findings were mind-blowing. For example, they found that people tend to listen to more chill music at night and more intense, high-energy music during the day.
That makes total sense. It's like our musical choices mirror our natural energy levels throughout the day.
Exactly. Our internal clock influences our playlists.
Yeah.
What's even cooler is the study also found some pretty clear cultural differences in listening habits.
Oh, like what?
Well, for example, they found that in Latin America, people tend to have faster physical and emotional responses to music. It's like they have this innate connection to rhythm and movement.
Which makes sense when you think about all the amazing dance and music from that region.
Right. Whereas music streamed in Asia tended to be more relaxed and contemplative,
Okay.
potentially reflecting their cultural values of harmony and balance.
Wow, that is so fascinating. So it's not just individual preferences, it's how those preferences are shaped by the culture we're immersed in.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's a reminder that our musical choices are part of this much bigger tapestry,
Yeah.
woven together by individual experiences, personalities, and the world around us.
It's really remarkable when you think about it.
It is. So to recap, we're talking about a combo of emotions, personality traits, environmental stuff, and even cultural factors,
Yeah.
all creating our unique musical fingerprint. It's this amazing puzzle with all these pieces coming together to make something truly special.
I love that analogy.
And what's cool is that everyone's puzzle is different.
Right.
Each person's brain processes music in its own way,
Yeah.
which is why it can be so powerful and personal.
Okay, I'm hooked. This is way more interesting than I ever imagined.
Right. It's like a whole new world opened up, hasn't it? And you know, there's this one thing I find super interesting about all this.
Tell me. I'm ready for more.
Have you ever noticed how some songs, like even if they're in a language you don't get, can still like make you feel things? Like really strong emotions.
100%. There's this song, I think it's in Portuguese. I have no idea what the words are, but every time it comes on, I just want to dance. It just, I don't know, lifts my mood.
It's wild, right? The power of music, it like taps into something deeper than words.
Yeah.
It speaks to our hearts, you know.
I'm telling you, this whole conversation is making me think about music in a totally different way.
Yeah.
Like why some songs just grab me and how much of my personality is actually like reflected in my playlist.
I know, right? It's like peeking behind the curtain and seeing how our brains work.
Yeah.
And it can even help us connect with others, you know, on a deeper level.
Oh, how so?
Okay, so think about it like this. When we understand what shapes our own musical tastes, the psychology, the cultural stuff,
Yeah.
we can see other people's music choices in a new light.
Mm.
We might not always agree on the same songs, but we can at least appreciate where they're coming from, you know,
I get it.
and use music as like a bridge to build some understanding.
So instead of being like, ugh, their taste is terrible, it's more like, okay, what does this tell me about them?
Exactly. Like it's a window into their world. And when we look through that window, we start seeing those things we have in common too.
I love that. It's like music is this universal language. You know, it helps us connect with each other on a human level, even if we're from different cultures.
It really is. And, you know, it can even help us learn about ourselves.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So if our musical tastes are shaped by all this stuff, our emotions, personality, where we live, then paying attention to the music we love can actually give us clues about who we are deep down.
I like that. It's like music is a mirror, right? Reflecting our inner world, all our hopes and fears, even our deepest desires.
I love that. It's a reflection of our inner selves.
Mm-hmm.
And just like we might change our clothes or hair to express different parts of ourselves,
Right.
our music choices can change too. They can evolve and shift as we grow.
So you're saying our taste in music isn't set in stone. We're allowed to like explore and change over time?
Absolutely. It's fluid, it's dynamic, and it's super fascinating to look back and see how it's all changed,
Yeah.
Think about the music you were obsessed with as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Does it still hit the same way?
Actually, now that you mention it, some of it does.
Yeah.
But some of it, definitely not. Like,
Yeah.
my tastes have definitely grown up, I guess you could say.
It's so interesting, right? Our musical journey is like a soundtrack to our lives.
Yeah.
And every song adds a new layer to that story.
This makes me want to dig up my old playlists and see how my preferences have changed.
Do it. It's like opening a time capsule.
I love it.
And who knows, you might rediscover some gems.
Yeah, or maybe cringe a little, haha.
Maybe. But that's part of the fun.
This has been such a cool deep dive. I seriously have a whole new appreciation for music now.
Me too. It's a reminder that music is way more than just sounds.
Yeah.
It's a language, it's art, it's a window into what it means to be human.
And a source of, like, endless fascination.
Couldn't agree more.
And I'm still learning so much.
So, as we start to wrap up, I have a challenge for our listeners.
Oh, I love a good challenge. Lay it on me.
Over the next week, I want you to pay attention to your own listening habits.
Okay.
What are you listening to when you're happy, sad, stressed, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
What do those choices tell you about yourself?
I'm definitely in. And, like, take it even further. Think about the music your friends and family love.
Yeah.
What does it tell you about them?
Exactly. Use this new knowledge, like connect with others on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Understand them better, and hey,
Yeah.
you might even find some new music you like along the way.
I love that. It's like music can be this, like, secret decoder ring
Yeah.
for understanding people,
I love that. It really is like unlocking a code.
This has been, honestly, such an amazing deep dive.
I know, right?
I feel like I understand music so much better now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like, something we just take for granted, it
Yeah.
can be so, I don't know, meaningful and complex. I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to my own listening now.
Good.
And, like, when Spotify Wrapped comes out, I'm going to be looking at it in a whole new way.
I love it. Remember, music's more than just sounds.
Yeah.
It's a window into who we are, what connects us all.
So well said. Well, on that note, that wraps up our deep dive into, the psychology behind musical preferences.
Where's it coming, mate?
Until next time, folks, keep exploring that amazing world of music and all it has to teach us.